I wanted to talk a minute about foreclosure and what bankruptcy can do for you to help you when facing foreclosure. Now, as we talked about, there's two different options of bankruptcy, Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. Both options provide the same relief in that by the act of filing a bankruptcy, it stops the foreclosure and gives you time. Time to possibly reinstate, or time to reorganize, or if you're deciding to surrender the property, time to leave. So the action of actually filing a bankruptcy, in either case, will stop the foreclosure. Now, if your intention is to leave the property and you're going to file a bankruptcy to stop the foreclosure, to give yourself more time, you have to plan in advance. You definitely want to take some actions to begin your new search for where you're going to live. And also, I want you to think about your utilities, shutting off your utilities, canceling your utilities, and plan for having the money for a security deposit, completing your search, and moving out so that you're not faced with, when the time runs out, they foreclose, and now you're desperate to be someplace. So bankruptcy will stop foreclosure, and if you're surrendering the house, it'll give you time. Now, if you want to keep the house, it'll also give you time to reorganize your debt, time to create what might be a Chapter 13 plan to pay back that arrearage, or time possibly, if you're going to file a 7, maybe to borrow money from a family member to reinstate your mortgage. So the action of filing bankruptcy is very powerful in that it gives you time to breathe. Now, what happens after you file the bankruptcy, if you choose to keep your property and you choose that you decided in advance that you're going to keep your property and you want to stop the foreclosure? Well, ordinarily, as the process of the foreclosure goes along and tracks, it starts off initially with the bank giving you notice and saying, look, you're behind and we're going to foreclose. It then moves further on to notices saying we're going to give it to our attorney, and then it goes to the legal department, whoever that might be, and that person will send you a notice, and then eventually a date will be set. So all of these things will be happening. Now, the idea is to be proactive if you want to keep your home. And the reason why you want to be proactive is because the longer that it tracks along the foreclosure process, the more fees are accruing. The more attorney's fees are going to grow. So the bigger the amount that you owe the bank to get caught back up, or to what's called reinstate your mortgage, will grow. So a lot of times people will come in and see me where it's the last minute, and all of a sudden they just don't owe perhaps what all those mortgage payments might be, 6 months of mortgage payments, but there's an additional $5,000 or $6,000 of accumulated late fees, interest, legal fees, advertising fees, that unfortunately, if you want to keep your home, all becomes part of the reinstatement figure. So if you see yourself going down that path, perhaps the modification isn't working. Perhaps you've been out of work, you're not eligible for a modification or any other relief. and you're just behind, and it's kind of catching up with you now, and all of that's compiling. The idea is to come meet with someone like myself before you get the additional fees, because being proactive is going to save you money. It's going to save money in the long run if you want to keep your home. So again, just to recap, Chapter 7, Chapter 13 will stop a foreclosure and give you time. Time to either move out or time to stay in your home and reorganize or restructure. But if you're headed down that path, you want to be proactive so that if you choose to keep your home and you want to stay there, the reinstatement, the amount that you owe, doesn't become so much that we can't deal with it finding a long-term solution.